It's Tich Gang, Made in Africa, Costa Tich album review. My name is Fairchild, and you are watching Cross Rhythm. 25-year-old Costa Tich, dancer turned rapper, originally from Nelspruit, Mpumalanga in South Africa. Growing up, he developed a keen interest for dancing, and it was at the age of 15 where Costa Tich decided to move to Johannesburg, where he first started his dancing career. It was during that time when he was around these rappers that he took a liking for the rap lifestyle, and he decided he wanted to become a rapper at that time. I didn't know who Costa Tich was in detail. I had heard Galagata, and I already had Tembi on my Spotify playlist, which was a song I really liked. But even with all that, I didn't know who he was. The first track off the album begins with a snippet of an interview. I'm not sure who the two parties involved in this interview talking are, but they're talking about the success that Costa Tich has had off the song Galagata. And there's a lot of doubt as to whether Costa Tich will be able to create an album that would reach the heights of Galagata. Interview continues to play. A beat starts to develop in the background, which leads us into the first track off the album, Made in Africa. You have these wait ad-libs and ha. Popularized by SoundCloud rappers, Famous Dex, Ski Master Slum God, and Playboy Cardi, to name a few. He's taken that interview at the beginning and he's created a whole hook responding to that interview with the Haibo, Angege, which he's pretty much saying, just leave me alone, let me be me. The beat it's a very trendy sound. It's a common sound that you hear today. When you look at the album cover, it looks like a Golf Wang catalog. Golf Wang being Tyler the Creator's clothing label. So this album very much fits with this era. Track number 2, Coco Coco, Tich Gang, I know. We keep the same energy with track number 2, Mpulele. I do enjoy the way the song begins with the Coco Coco. Even though he's taking the SoundCloud era influence, he is using a lot of Zulu references, using a lot of vernacular, which does make the album more relatable when listening to it. It's a 2-minute track, very short. And that's popular nowadays with songs on the radio. You don't get 3 minutes or 4 minutes. That's actually a very long song to have a 4 or 5 minutes. We don't get that anymore. I do appreciate that, however. I think when a song is 2 minutes and if it's done very well, it has a very high replay value. And this one's a great example. Usjava leads us into track 3, Holy Rain. Usjava has this unique voice that blends South African traditional vocal styles with auto-tune. The first 3 tracks off Made in Africa, Costa Tich is talking about the struggles that he has had to face to get to where he currently is now. And in this song, we have a beat change where he goes back into that story, and we end it with him going into the studio and finally creating the hit song that we are all familiar with, Galagata. Galagata is a reference to the late legendary Kwaito veteran's 2000 hit song, Galagata. This is a ballsy take, as for those who are old enough to remember, Galagata was this behemoth of a track. It crossed boundaries. If you're too young to understand, it's kind of the way Jerusalem has a reach now. Galagata was pre-Jerusalem before Jerusalem was. I remember as a kid, I once went to this wedding and they played Galagata. It was an Indian wedding and everybody went crazy. That's how big Galagata was. So for him to have been able to create a hit song, and it sounds good. It's just not for me. Definitely a song that I skip, but it worked. It really worked. We still have the famous Dex ad-libs, the ha, wait. I honestly thought at this part of the album I would have been tired of the whole wait, but it actually adds a great vibe to the whole album. Stunned was some, you were sweet, ha. Durban Poison, track number 5. Here Costa Tich is talking about that Durban herb, that chronic, that ooh-wee, chiba, roach, giggle smoke, broccoli, Mary Jane, a sticky iggy, asparagus, endo, happy cigarette, keef, Mr. Green, The Righteous Bush, Spliff, Oh Boy, Khalifa Kush, Pineapple Express, Granddaddy Purple, Amy Winehouse, Girl Scout Cookies. It's a good song. My favorite portion of the album begins with Ariane, hey, 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 in the area, Ariane. Costa Tich. Track number 6, Ariane, featuring the original Boss Zonke, Ricky Rick, who, by the way, I think Ricky Rick has to be one of the most underrated rappers in Africa. I seriously think so. Him and Sakodi have to be... In fact, I think in the future I'm going to create a list. My top 10 most underrated rappers. And Ricky Rick is on this list because Ricky Rick has never had a bad feature. I've never heard a bad feature from Ricky Rick. And honestly, Ricky Rick was never supposed to be that guy. You know, when I first started hearing him on Amantombazane and Boss Zonke, and there were a couple of earlier tracks where we heard Ricky Rick, he just wasn't viewed as he's gonna have this longevity as he's proven right now. I mean, Ricky Rick has put out some really good, solid music over the years. He works very hard. What he says in this song, murdered every feature, I did it like Dwayne Carter. I think he understands that. Maybe he's had those conversations, or other people have said this in the past, that Ricky Rick is, honestly, he's that guy. I think we're gonna look back at all the work that Ricky Rick has done, and it's gonna be viewed differently. It's just right now, you've had different superstars that come and go. When this whole South African hip-hop scene started taking off like it did, we were looking at AKA and Casper Nyovest. We never, Ricky Rick was never in that discussion. But I'm telling you guys, in terms of like GOAT, in terms of good features, makes good music, never had a bad feature before. If Ricky Rick is not in your list, it's not a list. It's just not a list. I like the touch of the girl singing in the background. There's La La Maporisa, La La Ricky Rick, La La Costa Tich. You have that blown out speaker sound. I don't know, did DJ Maporisa produce this song? If he did, this sounds very different, and maybe I'm not up to date with what a Maporisa beat sounds like. If he produced that, this is really different, and I like it. I actually like this. For those who are not familiar with DJ Maporisa, he was one of the co-producers on Drake's One Dance. I don't know how else to best explain it to you. You're gonna have to just go back and educate yourself as to who he is. Has a lot of great songs on his catalog. It's a very trendy sound. It's great. I like that they took that sound that you hear every day on the radio and they added different elements to it that just makes for a great song. Blessings. Track number 7 featuring AKA. I love it. This is the pocket that I like to hear AKA in. This is that congratulate AKA, that special female AKA, that free AKA. Fela and Versace, So what's it at now? 7 million views? Just wasn't for me. That song wasn't for me. I feel sometimes AKA uses auto-tune so much, we need to confiscate the auto-tune button away from AKA. But sometimes he just goes in so hard. I lose track of what the song is because it's just so auto-tuned. I think he sounds great with just a little auto-tune, not too much, because AKA has a really good voice. In this song, he's sounding very much in shape. Free was probably my favorite, not because Congratulate isn't a good song, but because I just enjoy Free as a song. And then Special Female and Congratulate are kind of on the same. They're both great songs, but Free AKA was for me. And this is now like, it's up there for me with Free. Like, he gave me a great feature on this. What I will say though is Costa Tich he starts to take on the AKA flow. It almost sounds like maybe AKA wrote these lyrics for him and just said, hey, just rap. Because the cadence is very much an AKA cadence. But man, from the hook to when AKA comes in and starts going off. I was into this. This is my jam. This is actually my favorite song off the album. Favorite song off the album, and yeah, my new favorite AKA song. We also have a contribution from Phantom Steez. Phantom Steez is still new to me. I will be definitely following him. From interviews I had watched with Costa Tich, Phantom Steez is mentioned to be part of this whole production team in this album. So I will definitely be keeping track of Phantom Steez going on forward. This is the meat of the album. Boscasi leads us into track 8, who, by the way, Boscasi has this angelic voice. If you guys remember her from Casper Niove's Move For Me, that was her on it. I like the way you move for me, move for me. I went back to just get familiar with her, and I really like her catalog. And this song, track number 8, she's singing lyrics talking about how we knew Costa Tich would reach for the sky. It's an inspirational track, pretty short. Tich can Pezulu, Pezulu, stadium anthem. I think Costa Tich, when he created Pezulu, track number 9, he had a stadium in mind where he's just yelling to everyone. Tich can Pezulu, Pezulu, You gotta take your shirt off. You gotta take your shirt off to this one. Pezulu, Pezulu, As we're going into this album, it's quite evident that it really doesn't have a specific theme to it. This is a vibe album. You know, when you look at a lot of the SoundCloud era albums, none of them really have much of a message. It's more about a vibe. When you listen to a Travis Scott album, he's not saying that much. We're not getting a story. We're just getting a vibe. Track number 10, 4 a.m. in Santon. This one's not for me. This is a skippable track. I mean, it sounds like a Drake song. It sounds like very much like a Drake song. I'm assuming it's a play on Drake's 5 a.m. in Toronto. This one's 4 a.m. in Santon. Even the flow, he took on a Drake flow. Very much Drake inspired. Not for me. Track 11 is called Got It, featuring Rouge, who just murders the whole song. Rouge and Boy T had the best features on this album. Don't at me. And I had never heard of Rouge, but she went in. She really went in on this one. She really went in. Tembi was another one that I'd already heard, featuring Boy T. I didn't know Boy T raps. Let's start with that. But she's really good. And when you hear track 11 and 12 together, you're just like, wow, they murdered it. So shouts out to them. They were like iron sharpens. What's the phrase?
Iron sharpens steel?
You know that phrase. Whatever. Track number 13, Wachabiki. Wachabiki has to be one of the most catchiest lines I have heard. Most memorable in SA hip-hop. It's up there. 10 years from now, you'll hear someone saying Wachabiki and you know exactly what we're talking about. It's that catchy of a line. Shouts out to youngster CPT. He really goes in on this one. I don't even know what Wachabiki means, but it is dope. It is dope. It sounds so dope. Track 14, Galbander. Okay, it's a braggadocious track. Nothing new that we haven't heard. I do like the use of Galbander. I'm cold. I'm icy. Galbander. I like the sound of the trumpets on it. It's a mellow trap sound, has a summery vibe to it. Track 15, Great, featuring Frank Casino and 25K. Braggadocious song. He's comparing himself to Prince, Michael Jordan, Steve Biko, iconic people in history. It's okay. The final track, 16 Nazo, more or less the same thing. It's fine. It works. It does its thing. This is a really good album. It's a great take on SoundCloud rap. It definitely finds inspiration from that and it makes it its own. It's quite obvious when you listen to the whole album that these songs were written for him. The features really carried this album. It's almost like they heard the Costa Tich album before laying any verses on it, and they just felt this thing will grow legs and it's my time to shine. These features are so solid to the point that Costa Tich actually falls to the back It doesn't feel like his album. It feels like a compilation. And I'm okay with that. I'm honestly okay with that. We gotta have this discussion that Costa Tich has had a lot of controversy around this album. The fact that he uses Vanek in his songs, but he is unable to speak the language. This has been very unsettling to a lot of people. Honestly, what I would say for Costa Tich is we've accepted you. You have been accepted into this culture. In return, I think it's important for you to understand the struggles and the challenges that people in the culture face. People who don't look like you. Great time to maybe start learning a little bit of isiZulu or any other vernacular language, and just being a champion of the culture. People want to know you're in this for real. Who are you going to be? Are you going to be Eminem or Post Malone? By that I mean, are you going to be an Eminem who has mastered and respects the culture and wants to know everything about it? Or are you going to be a Post Malone who flip-flops and only wants to be part of something for the convenience? The decision is yours. On a scale of 0 to 10, I give this a 7.5. What are your thoughts on Made in Africa? Is this cultural appropriation? Remember to like and subscribe, and let's continue the discussion in the comments.